Let's be honest for a second. If peptides were completely useless, people wouldn't keep arguing about them, YouTube wouldn't be full of videos, and forums wouldn't be losing their minds over them. Beat. So the real question isn't, are peptides fake? It's, what do they actually do? Peptides are everywhere in fitness right now. Some people act like they're the future of human performance. Some people act like they're snake oil with a syringe. And most people honestly have no idea what they're even talking about. So today we're doing the boring but useful thing. We're breaking down what peptides actually are, what they can realistically help with, where the hype completely falls apart. 1. What peptides actually are. Let's start with basics, real basics. Peptides are short chains of amino acids. That's it. And before you roll your eyes, here's why that matters. Your body already uses peptides constantly, right now, as you're watching this. They're involved in our growth signaling, tissue repair, inflammation control, appetite regulation, immune response, recovery processes. In other words, peptides are already part of how your body works. If peptides didn't matter at all, your body wouldn't be full of them already. The easiest way to think about this is simple. They don't rebuild the house. They send a message saying, hey, maybe fix this part. That's important because peptides don't force outcomes. They signal processes. 2. Why peptides became popular in fitness. So why did peptides suddenly explode in popularity within the fitness world? The short answer is simple: they sound advanced. Peptides feel like something reserved for elite athletes, cutting-edge science, or the next level beyond supplements. That alone makes people curious. The longer and more honest answer is that peptides sit in a strange middle ground between traditional supplements and pharmaceutical drugs. They aren't just vitamins you buy off a shelf, but they also don't force dramatic changes in the body like anabolic steroids. Instead, peptides work by supporting biological processes that already exist, and that distinction is what most people misunderstand. Peptides don't do the work for you. They don't magically build muscle or melt fat. What they can do is make the work easier to recover from. That single idea is why interest in peptides has grown so rapidly. Over time, people in fitness began realizing a hard truth: recovery is the real bottleneck, not motivation, not effort, not even training intensity. Recovery. You don't actually grow from lifting weights. You grow from the recovery that happens after training. Without proper recovery, progress stalls, injuries accumulate, and consistency breaks down. This is where peptides entered the conversation. The promise wasn't instant transformation, but improved recovery, better sleep quality, reduced inflammation, and the ability to train consistently over longer periods of time. In theory, peptides help create an environment where progress becomes easier to sustain. That's why peptides caught attention, not because they replace discipline or effort. Progress becomes more predictable, and results become easier to maintain. That idea, not hype, is what pushed peptides into the fitness spotlight. 3. Main peptide categories. To understand peptides properly, you have to break them into categories, because not all peptides do the same thing, and treating them like one magical group is where confusion starts. 1. Growth hormone-related peptides. These are easily the most talked about peptides in fitness. And before myths start flying, let's clear something up immediately. These peptides do not inject growth hormone. They do not replace hormones, and they definitely do not turn you into a mutant. What they actually do is signal your body to release slightly more of its own growth hormone. People commonly report benefits like improved sleep quality, better recovery between training sessions, support during fat loss phases, and assistance with tissue repair. There's no instant muscle gain, no breaking biological limits, no skipping years of training. If your sleep habits are terrible, peptides won't fix them. If your training program is poorly designed, peptides won't rescue it. They simply amplify what's already happening. 2. Recovery and healing peptides. This category tends to attract people who actually train hard, not influencers chasing trends and not beginners looking for shortcuts. These peptides are commonly used by athletes, individuals managing chronic aches or injuries, and people who want to stay consistent long term. They don't directly build muscle. Instead, they help you stay in the game. You don't grow from one workout. You grow from being able to train again tomorrow. Recovery determines how often you can show up. Better recovery means fewer forced breaks, fewer setbacks, and fewer weeks lost to pain or fatigue. That may not sound exciting, but over months and years, it makes a massive difference. 3 appetite and metabolic peptides. This is where fat loss discussions get heated. These peptides influence hunger signaling, satiety, and what many people call food noise. Reducing hunger does not burn fat, it makes calorie control easier. Calories still matter, movement still matters. The rules don't change. Peptides simply reduce friction. They don't create discipline. They make discipline less miserable. And for many people, that's the difference between quitting and staying consistent. 4. What peptides realistically do not do. Time for a reality check. Peptides do not replace training, they do not replace calories, they do not replace protein, they do not replace sleep, and they definitely do not replace effort. They don't magically build muscle while you skip workouts. They don't burn fat while your diet is chaotic, and they don't turn bad habits into good results. Peptides also don't override physics. Calories still count, energy balance still applies, adaptation still takes time. Biology doesn't bend just because something sounds advanced or comes in a vial. No compound beats consistency. That sentence alone explains why so many people feel disappointed. The issue isn't that peptides don't work, it's that people expect transformation, and peptides only offer optimization. Optimization means small advantages stacked over time. Slightly better recovery, slightly improved sleep quality, slightly easier appetite control. None of that looks impressive in a 1-week window, but over months of consistent training and nutrition, it can matter. The problem is foundation. If your training is random, peptides amplify randomness. If your diet is inconsistent, peptides amplify inconsistency. If your sleep is poor, peptides amplify fatigue. Weak foundations produce weak results, no matter how advanced the tool. This is where most frustration comes from. People add peptides first instead of last. They treat them like a shortcut instead of a supplement to habits that already exist. Peptides don't create motivation. They don't enforce discipline. They don't replace showing up when you don't feel like it. They simply support systems that are already working. If you want miracles, peptides will disappoint you. If you want marginal gains on top of solid habits, they might make sense. Different expectations, very different outcomes. 5. Peptides versus steroids. Let's clear this up once and for all, because this confusion causes more bad decisions than almost anything else in fitness. No, peptides are not steroids. Steroids work by directly forcing muscle growth. They override your natural hormonal systems, push protein synthesis higher regardless of context, and create rapid, visible changes in size and strength. That's why they work fast, and why they come with significant trade-offs. Peptides operate in a completely different lane. They don't force outcomes. They don't replace hormones. They don't hijack your endocrine system. Instead, peptides act as signals. They modulate processes that already exist in your body and gently support functions like recovery, sleep quality, tissue repair, or appetite regulation. Steroids override the system. Peptides work inside it. That single distinction changes everything. If your training, nutrition, and recovery are solid, peptides may help you get slightly more out of them. If those fundamentals are missing, peptides have very little to amplify. The risks are different too. Steroids come with well-documented hormonal suppression, cardiovascular strain, and long-term health consequences. Peptides aren't risk-free, but they generally don't create the same level of systemic disruption, especially when used responsibly and in appropriate contexts. And expectations matter. Steroids promise transformation. The peptides offer optimization. Confusing the two leads to frustration, misuse, and poor decisions. Once you understand that, peptides stop looking like magic and start looking like what they actually are: supportive tools, not shortcuts. 6. Risks and responsibility. This is the part most people conveniently skip. Peptides are not all the same, not even close. They vary widely in quality, purity, research backing, sourcing standards, and how individuals respond to them. Two people can use the same peptide and have completely different outcomes. That alone should make anyone slow down. They are not toys. They are not supplements. Many peptides exist in a gray area between research compounds and medical tools. That means dosage, sourcing, storage, and administration all matter. Neutral tools still require intelligent use. Peptides don't magically become safe because they sound scientific or because influencers normalize them. Used incorrectly, they can create unwanted side effects, disrupt recovery, or simply waste time and money with zero benefit. They make sense in advanced training contexts where the basics are already locked in and marginal improvements actually matter. They do not belong as shortcuts for beginners. 7. genuine, who peptides may actually help. Let's be honest. Peptides may make sense for advanced trainees, people with recovery limitations, individuals already consistent with basics. They usually do not make sense if training is random, nutrition is chaotic, sleep is terrible, expectations are unrealistic. Peptides amplify habits. They don't replace them. If your habits suck, they amplify that too. So here's the honest conclusion. Peptides aren't fake. They're not magic. They're not steroids. They're tools. Tools that can support recovery, consistency, and performance when the foundation is already solid. If you want fitness content that explains trends without hype, fear, or BS, hit subscribe. This is Fitness Facts and Zero Fluff. See you next time.